Indictment with allegations of abuse that they now say lasted for 2 decades. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is here with the details. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Rebecca. Federal prosecutors pledged from the start their investigation into Sean Combs is ongoing, and now they say they've uncovered criminal conduct that does indeed span 2 decades.
Power, influence, and money, the 3 pillars that have built some of the most untouchable empires in history. But what happens when the walls start closing in? Sean "Diddy" Combs, the music mogul, entrepreneur, and once celebrated icon, now finds himself in the crosshairs of the most damning legal battle of his career. A superseding indictment. More charges, more victims, and a case that could redefine his legacy forever. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is federal. And when the feds come, they don't miss. But is this justice? Or is there a bigger game at play? Strap in. Because over the next 5 minutes, we're breaking down every shocking detail, every legal move, in the high-stakes war that could either destroy Diddy or set him free. Let's start with the facts. On the surface, it seemed like Diddy had weathered the storm. He had faced accusations before, lawsuits, and controversy. But nothing that seemed strong enough to bring him down. That all changed when a superseding indictment was unsealed. A new wave of allegations. More victims. More evidence. The charges? Sex trafficking, racketeering, coercion, and obstruction of justice. According to federal prosecutors, this wasn't just about Diddy's private life, this was about a systematic operation spanning nearly 2 decades. The indictment describes an alleged network of freak-offs, exclusive parties where women were drugged, coerced, and forced into acts against their will. It claims that these events were orchestrated not just by Diddy but with the help of associates, enforcers, and industry insiders. And here's where it gets real. The feds say they have receipts, surveillance footage, financial transactions, testimonies. So, what does this mean for Diddy? If convicted on these charges, he's looking at decades behind bars. But his legal team isn't backing down. And that's where the fight really begins. Diddy's lawyers aren't just fighting the charges, they're going to war. His lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, has called this case a federal overreach, arguing that the government is using Diddy's lifestyle against him rather than proving actual crimes. According to his legal team, the so-called freak-offs were nothing more than private, consensual gatherings, no different from what happens behind closed doors in elite Hollywood circles. And then there's the video evidence, which prosecutors claim shows coercion, while Diddy's team insists it proves his innocence. So, who's telling the truth? Well, let's break it down logically. 1. If these events were genuinely consensual, then why have multiple women come forward over the years with similar allegations? 2. If there was no coercion, then why have former insiders flip, choosing to testify against him? 3. And if this was just about Diddy's lifestyle, then why is the government treating this like a major crime syndicate case? The truth likely lies somewhere in between. But in the court of law, truth isn't enough. You need evidence. You need a strategy. And the prosecution has a plan. The feds don't come unless they're ready to win. Unlike civil lawsuits, federal cases have an extremely high conviction rate. Once they decide to indict, they already have substantial evidence, or at least enough to pressure key witnesses into cooperating. And here's what makes this case even more dangerous for Diddy. The government isn't just charging him alone. They're going after his entire network. They want associates, bodyguards, assistants, even former partners, flipping them one by one until there's no one left to protect him. We've seen this strategy before. R. Kelly, his empire crumbled when insiders turned on him. Jeffrey Epstein, the walls closed him when his associates started cooperating. The RICO cases, from mafia bosses to rappers, the moment the feds start stacking charges, the end is near. So, is Diddy next? His team is fighting back aggressively, but the real battle isn't in the courtroom. It's in public perception. Because once your reputation is gone, even a legal victory won't save you. This case isn't just about Diddy. It's about power. For decades, hip-hop has been a world of dominance, excess, and survival. The biggest moguls aren't just musicians, they're businessmen, deal makers, cultural architects. Diddy has always played at the highest level. He's rubbed shoulders with presidents, billionaires, and industry elites. But now, the same power and influence that built his empire may be what's tearing it down. Because the question we have to ask is, why now? Is this a reckoning for years of unchecked abuse? Or is this a takedown of a black billionaire, a case of systematic dismantling? There's no denying that Diddy's past is messy. The evidence against him is profound. But is he truly the mastermind the feds claim? Or is he another influential figure caught in the storm, fighting for survival? At the end of the day, this case is far from over. Diddy will fight. The government will push harder. And as the trial unfolds, we'll see whether he walks free, or becomes another fallen king. But here's what I want to leave you with. What does justice actually look like? Is it bringing down a man for crimes he allegedly committed? Or is it making sure the system itself isn't playing a bigger game? Because in a world of power, fame, and influence, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. Like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives. What do you think? Is Diddy guilty, or is this a targeted takedown? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
John Diddy Combs case, federal prosecutors filing a new indictment with allegations of abuse that they now say lasted for 2 decades. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is here with the details. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Rebecca. Federal prosecutors pledged from the start their investigation into Sean Combs is ongoing, and now they say they've uncovered criminal conduct that does indeed span 2 decades. This morning, federal prosecutors are expanding their sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs, saying the music mogul abused, threatened, and coerced women over a longer period of time than first alleged, 20 years, from 2004 until his arrest last year in New York. The new indictment says Combs assaulted not only women, but also his employees, witnesses to his abuse, and others.
It was a circus. He did whatever he wanted, and we were just at his disposal.
For 2 years, Phil Pines was Combs' senior executive assistant and is suing him for sexual battery and harassment, which Combs has denied. Alleged violence was vividly captured in this 2016 video obtained by CNN showing Combs kicking and dragging his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a Los Angeles hotel. The new indictment says Combs paid hotel staff $100,000 for the footage. And prosecutors now say Combs coerced 2 additional victims into sex acts. The ones that also recruited male prostitutes were called freak-offs. Others involved only Combs and a female victim. Like the freak-offs, the new indictment says these sex acts sometimes lasted multiple days, were sometimes electronically recorded, and often involved a variety of drugs meant to keep the victim obedient and compliant. Combs has pleaded not guilty. His lawyer said he is as committed as ever to fighting these charges and winning at trial. Guys, that trial's scheduled for May.